Street, a series focused on advice for entrepreneurs provided by Star Business Advisors. I'm Steve Snyder, entrepreneur in residence at Gesmer, and I'm here with Eric Solem. Eric is a great friend and the very best commercial real estate broker in Boston that I know. Eric, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Steve. Happy to be here. Appreciate the support.
You created Landmark Real Estate Advisors, a wildly successful business. It was acquired by Lee Associates, and I know you're now the president of Lee Associates Boston. So tell us about Lee Associates.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Lee Associates we merged our firm, Landmark, 3 years ago this month. So it's pretty exciting. We're celebrating our third anniversary. Lee Associates is a national brokerage firm based out of Southern California, entrepreneurial. We have 1,500 brokers. We have 70 offices, and Boston is the 65th office that we're happy to open. This is the 45th year of Lee Associates. It's Bill Lee founded back in '78. So we're excited with our growth. We grew 50% over the last 2 years despite the headwinds in the economy, and looking forward to continue to grow our Boston team.
Congratulations on the success.
Thanks, Steve.
As a trusted business advisor, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs of scaling companies that are looking for financing?
Great question, Steve. Financing is always on the top of the mind of entrepreneurs, and we know how challenging it is to raise money in the marketplace. So the key thing that we've seen in terms of meeting entrepreneurs and working with them is that they really need to know the numbers and understand the assumptions that they've backed in terms of revenue, seeking profit, in terms of customer acquisition, bringing a product to marketplace, and where their competition is on numbers as well. So that's really one of the most essential items in terms of communicating to investors. And secondly, building a relationship with different investors, whether it be a bank loan or some kind of venture capital, whether it's seed or follow-on capital or even growth equity. Those are all considerations. And then the third piece would be really looking at alternative financing sources. There's crowdfunding, there's debt structuring, there's other mechanisms like royalty capital. There's various ways that there's accounts receivable financing, which we have relationships with as well. So those are all different creative ways to think about raising capital. Certainly with the rising interest rates, it's important to consider all those factors in terms of growth and keeping a cap table manageable in terms of the number of investors that you're working with.
What advice do you have for entrepreneurs that are looking for space as they continue to scale their companies?
Yeah, space is a real strong consideration in terms of building loyalty and building trust amongst the team, and creativity. If you're constantly working remotely, having an impromptu, unstructured conversation, this doesn't happen as often. And so getting access to the right space is really a critical item. And what could that be? That could be taking incubator space. Boston has a great ecosystem for early stage companies to be able to have spaces to meet and do so in a cost manageable way. And then in terms of when a company's scaling to grow the organization, there's incredible deals in the Boston marketplace right now with a number of subleases that are way below market. And those are accessible with very minimal costs. So we would certainly recommend that, and we've been tracking a number of opportunities in the urban environment as well as the suburban environment in terms of enabling entrepreneurs to grow but save money. And that's absolutely critical to minimize cost on space. And that's what we specialize in.
Well, you are certainly the king of finding subleases for clients. We've worked together on a number of them, all enormously successful. So thank you for that, and thank you for the great advice, sir. What's the most important advice you have for entrepreneurs?
Steve, I think of three areas of advice for entrepreneurs. One is have a clear and concise business plan. Two would be to surround yourself with a strong network of advisors. And 3 would be to have adaptability and resilience. On the business plan point, having a strategy, having metrics to define your success in terms of marketing, operations, finance, having a runway of time in which, if you're raising capital, that you can meet those critical milestones and objectives. 2, in terms of the network, surrounding yourself with those that you can trust and help you scale. So organizations like Gesmer Updegrove, in terms of forming a company, in terms of putting together critical documents to make sure when in good times you do those things, so in bad times you have a plan to execute against, and then or others that will help scale the organization as well. I think that's really critical. And then in terms of adapting and being resilient, the market's constantly changing. Look what we've gone through the past 3 years with the pandemic and how that's affected business. Look at ChatGPT and in terms of the profound impact that's going to have on companies. So being able to adapt and be resilient is really critical for entrepreneurs to be successful. So those are the 3 items that I'd recommend.
Terrific advice. Thanks, Eric.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Eric, thanks for joining me today, and thank you for the great advice. And thank you for joining us as we continue Brewin on Broad Street.